Welcome back. You know, 2 years ago, the Cookery restaurant opened, and it was like unlike anything that we've ever seen in Nashville before. You see, the eatery, its cooks, servers, and caretakers are all former homeless men. What a concept. The Cookery is a dream come true for the executive chef, Brett Swayn. And Brett is also the executive director of Lamb's Crops Ministries, and I'm so delighted to have him as my guest today. I'm a big fan. Thank you for being here.
It's an honor.
I would love to start at the beginning, because when I look at you now, Brett, it's hard to believe you were once homeless. And of course, you're not from around these parts.
Right.
Tell us how you got here and then your journey to becoming homeless.
I was in Dallas, Texas, and I got to that real famous address, End of Your Rope.
Yeah.
And there was just this implosion, just this disintegration of everything that I thought I was and what I was trying to do in life. And B, I had failed myself quite a lot.
Yeah.
And I remember just one morning feeling this unction to go to the Bible, and I opened it up and it began to read me. And over a course of 7 months, I just dug in and wept and reached out. And then one morning, that connection came. It was a Friday morning, and in that moment, I went from feeling like I was dying, almost dead, to the moment of conversion. And then after that, I felt more alive than I've ever known in my whole life. And I understood to come to Nashville. And but I also felt like there was going to be something wonderful that was going to happen, but I didn't know what it was, and I didn't want anyone to think that this person had anything to do with it, because I went from that place, as I said, of inner destruction to absolute joy and filled with life. So I wanted that for everyone. I didn't know it was possible, really. I thought God was somewhere over there. So I didn't research Nashville. I didn't know what the weather was like. I had no idea, and I came just with my Bible and my clothes. And when I arrived, a lot of people would say this is foolish, but when I arrived, I traveled as I read it to travel. I had no money. I came on a one-way ticket, just waiting for whatever was going to happen. And the first day, I found myself homeless. And there's a bit of a story to that. And again, for a lot of people, that would seem ridiculous, but for me, and finding out that God is real and following that path, it became a journey of self-discovery, of how blessed the poor are, how real God's word is, and the change of heart of a conversion from pity to compassion for those that struggle. And because of that lesson, everything that Lamb's Croft does and the Cookery does is based on compassion now. It's based on a lesson I couldn't have learned any other way.
Wow, and you tell that beautifully. I've known you doing other stories on you in the past, and you have such a great heart, and the people that you work with really, really do admire you. I understand, because when I first met you, I also met Terry Kemper, who had worked with you on putting the Cookery together. Unfortunately, she has passed.
Yes. And
you and Terry, prior to the Cookery, came up with the idea for the upper room, because you were all about still finding a way to help people.
Right. There was about 6 people that were sleeping on concrete in the winter. When I came out of homelessness, I immediately, at the Cathedral, Incarnation, downtown, the Episcopal Church, I immediately became involved with the Room at the Inn. While I was homeless, I never took part in it because I didn't know about it. And also it was in the season that it wasn't activated. But when I got out of homelessness, I wanted to be a part of that, because I knew how much joy the word safe brings to someone who doesn't experience that every night, or the compassion of someone reaching out and saying, I see you. It doesn't always happen. So we got involved with that, and then later on, when I saw where these folks were staying outside of this church, and I love the church, I don't know why the situation is, there's many reasons for why that could be, but we decided that we were going to approach a friend of ours that I had established a relationship with, Pastor Ray DeVries, the Woodbine community, and we asked them to open up. They had a gym called the Boyd Garrett Center, and they had this balcony section. And I was looking at the balcony section, and I thought, you know, about 6 people could sleep up there, and they could put their bags in there, because being homeless, carrying around your stuff is a burden. But you've got to have some place for the necessities of paperwork and things like that. So I approached him, and to the credit of the church, they said yes to the 6, and they never said no to 90, because they just kept coming and coming and coming. And it lasted for about a year, and then the floods came. And when the floods hit, Woodbine and Otter Creek were the only churches that I knew that were opened up as emergency centers, and we had the guys day and night for a good while. And it just continued. Whether it was winter or spring or summer, we held it open all the year long. For 6 years we did that. And a lot of the volunteers were the men themselves. Yeah. So it was an amazing thing. And Terry was obviously very heavily involved with that. She would stay with the men. It's little
yeah, little Terry,
5
who was formerly homeless herself.
Yeah, at the age of 16. So she had developed that compassion as well. Yeah. And it's an amazing story to share.
Well, I would love to talk a little bit now about the cookery, because it's such a unique idea, such a unique concept, where everybody in the restaurant back there cooking all the delicious food, you've brought in and made a part of a program that they train for 7 months. They learn a trade, how to be a chef, how to be a cook, and they totally transform their lives. How did you come up with this idea? Was it a dream?
No, it was practical thinking, which was an interesting term, I guess. When I was at the mission, when I was staying there, the only thing I could do was give back in the kitchens. That's all I could think of. Back home in Australia, I did this small stint in a kitchen, being a prep cook and a cleaner in a gold mining camp. So here I am in the mission thinking, what can I do to give back? I didn't know what God was doing with me. I didn't know He was trying to convert my heart. I didn't know all these things that were happening. It was every day was like 3, just trying to work out, what are you asking of me? What do you want? You know, that's a pretty famous question, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So I would give back in the kitchens. When the conversion happened, and I remembered my eyesight going from looking this way at the situation of poverty, coming eye to eye, looking at these men and going, brothers, family, I know what you feel. And not everybody's, I only knew this much, but it was enough to form the bridge. And when that happened, I said to God, and I meant it, that I am happy living here for the rest of my life. If this is what you want, I see your color among the poor. And I meant it. It wasn't something that I just said. Well, within about a week or two, someone from Fleming's, I didn't know it was a passing grade. I didn't even know God was waiting for that moment. And they offered me a job as a prep cook and a cleaner. Within a few months, they gave me the keys to the restaurant to open it up, and they just trusted me with that because of the grace. And then I started flying to different parts of the country for a little while, training other crews at opening Fleming's. Then I stayed with him for 8 years, and in that 8-year period, I became a sous chef. And the idea of especially to men who have lost hope, the idea of giving everything, in a sense, the structure, the teaching capabilities of what Fleming's gave me, and thank you to everybody at Fleming's for everything they did. Everything that they gave me there, I thought, this could be used to impart into other people, to give them hope, to give them a sense that hands perhaps that used to destroy things can make beautiful things. And people recognize that and encourage that, and then they feel like hope gives them breath and they come alive. And in that, as we're doing all that, it's all like smoke and mirrors, because the whole time we're watching the heart and we're talking life into them and their identity, and watching the mind transform from things that were broken into things that are breathing. So
we only have a couple of minutes left, and I would love for you to talk about Lambscroft Ministries is the initial place where these folks find their help. But you're in need of a home.
Right. After 6 years of doing this outreach, every Wednesday, every Saturday, the facility has been sold. So we're looking for a new facility to take these guys on, whether it be a church or part of a church, whether it be a gym that has facilities for these men to stay overnight. When we do the cold weather shelter, my wife was recently at a meeting, and it was huge, the impact of Woodbine. We didn't even know, we just did what we did. And they put it in 2 columns apparently. One was for Woodbine, one was for the other churches. And we didn't know that we were that big. So I'm still getting calls from the men saying, hey, winter's coming. Is there anywhere? And we're open to it, and we're excited for it. And we'll see what happens.
Well, anybody out there who may have a facility that they would definitely be open to helping these folks out, I know they would appreciate it, and you would just get so much out of it yourselves. Well, with just a little bit of time left, you dream so big, and you have such deep faith. What is your next dream? What do you think that God has put on your heart to do next?
To really work on the administrative and technical aspect of what we do, so that someone else who comes along, say with an air conditioning company or some computer repair company, can say, how did you do it? Because we want to do the same kind of thing. But also that maybe another city will invite us.
Yeah, I hope so too. Because what you've done is fantastic, and I just hope anybody watching out there would do the same. Thank you so much, Brad.
Thank you, Tawanda.
And I also want to thank my earlier guest, Pastor Brian Curry, for being here, Chuck Long and Angie Walk from Holy Trinity Community Church. And thank you for watching. I'm Tawanda Coleman, and I'll see you next time on the Plus Side of Nashville.